Recording right now, so if you guys want to redo everything.
Well, you haven't done the intro.
So what do we start with again?
No, where the fuck are we? Hello and welcome to a Topic a Month podcast where we cover one topic a month split into weekly segments. This month's topic is going to come with a bright orange tag on it. So for those of you who would rather not listen to this topic of a religion as a generalization, I do suggest that you might want to turn it off and come back for the minicast or for January's topic. But for now, we'll get this out of the way as a bit of a disclaimer. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has an opinion on an idea, and everyone has an opinion on an idea that can in fact be wrong. And ideas should be challenged because it's the only way we can grow intellectually. If you're still with me here, let's go ahead and get on with it. So today I've got two guests with me. One is returning, Donnie, and then we've got a new guest, Jake. So, say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
See, he follows directions nice.
Yeah, I'm a rebel.
You heathen.
It's that whole Simon Says. It's got me programmed.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's hop right into it. You're an atheist.
Of course.
You're an atheist.
Yeah, I am.
And so am I. Look at that. There's three of us in a room.
Oh.
That's actually pretty good odds, I guess. I mean, I hear there's like 20% of the U.S. is atheist now, but I think that it's probably skewed a little bit towards lower.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's probably more agnostic people. Like, they're just lazy atheists. Like, they're not really
They're
wanting. They're not
sitters.
they're not wanting to commit yet to the title. So, like, be agnostic.
They're just going to wait until they're on their deathbed like, yeah, I guess there's nothing.
Fuck it.
Well, it's not as though
Agnostics
it's
and
a
fossils.
very light thing to accept either, you know. So, I mean, I can understand why people haven't taken the full plunge in, but, you know, if you're starting out agnostic, it's only a matter of time before you're going to, you know, end up as an atheist.
Yeah.
You just don't really want to call yourself, I'm an atheist.
It's the
there isn't
transition
one.
period.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, you go from religious to agnostic to atheist to baby eater after that. I don't know.
That is pinnacle. That is the diamond level for atheism, is to get to the baby eating part.
It takes 6 gold stars to reach it, but it's possible.
You get a platinum card. And
You can eat babies anywhere.
It's kind of like a Sam's Club card. You know, there's a $10 membership fee and get your little name on it. But
there's dues. I must be behind on my dues then. Oh, shit.
So, we're gonna do a little bit of an interview style here. So, Donnie, will let you go since you've got a lot of pent up rage and anger.
oh god,
So I don't know any of your background on this, so this is all going to be new to me. What were you religious before, and then you just kind of thought your way out of it, or were you always an atheist and you just kept on thinking and strengthening it?
Well, technically, everybody's born atheist until somebody tells you otherwise.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily grow up in a religious household, but my dad's whole side of the family is Southern Baptist. I grew up in Topeka, Kansas. Went to elementary school with one of the kids from the Fred Phelps Church.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the fuckheads. I can't think of what they're called.
That's the correct term. It's fuckhead.
But yeah. So I grew up around that kind of shit. You know, going to my Saturday soccer game with my parents, and they'd be protesting on the street how God hates somebody for whatever.
How long
reason.
have they been doing that? Because the first time I heard of it was maybe like 5-10 years ago.
God, I'd say at least early 90s.
Really?
Yeah, Fred Phelps died
Yay.
a while back. Yeah, he's apparently, as he got closer to death, started to be less of an asshole and actually got kicked out of his own church because he wasn't a big enough asshole to be in it.
Good.
But yeah, fuck those guys.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah. So there's that. My dad's side of the family is all Southern Baptist. He's got like 8 brothers and sisters. You know, apparently her head couldn't, hurt or she couldn't be tired or any of that shit.
Oh my God.
So yeah, there's all that. Most of them go to church handful of times a week. Bible club this, Bible club that.
Regimented.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I would assume so with Baptist in the word. It tends to be a little bit more than evangelical. But.
Yeah. Well, for example, when my grandmother passed away, she had a funeral, but it was more of a sermon. Like, it was just weird.
Yeah.
We were at the church, and it was like an hour long, and they were reading Bible verses and talking about the Word of God, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, you guys are batshit fucking crazy. This is why I live 10 hours away from you fuckers.
Yeah.
A very, very good buddy of mine was raised homeschooled, religious. No, can't watch Harry Potter because it's witchcraft, but here's a book with a talking snake and shit. But I used to go to church with him quite a bit. And about the age of 13, 14 roughly, I started to realize some things that I just couldn't explain. For like, my parents were going through a divorce and all that, and no matter how much I talked to myself, nothing fucking changed.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I cried out for, let this be easy, let this be better, no, don't let it hurt my sister. Nothing fucking changed. There's that, and then you just start. I mean, with any religion, if you start asking questions, you'll poke holes in it instantly.
Yeah, right
and
away.
I just started asking questions, and the more and more I thought about it, the more questions I asked, the more I realized that none of these can be answered because it's all full of shit.
It is. It's really like a giant sci-fi fantasy book.
Yeah.
With, like, if you don't follow this, you're not getting into eternity of happiness. You're just going to go to eternity of unhappiness, which is stupid.
So, yeah, that was all early, mid-teens. Damn beer.
What are you guys having? Bent paddle?
Bent paddle.
It's canoe. It's session pale ale. It's very good. It's the closest thing you can get to the lollygagger, which they just ran out of. I think the only place that has it now is Pizza Luce. Lollygagger.
No, I haven't had either, and I feel kind of upset I quit drinking. But I'm having Diet Mountain Dew Code Red. So
Ooh, they still make Code Red?
They do. They make it in diet. Weirdly enough, they've got like 4 cases of it at Super One. That's about all they have on hand. Anyway,
yeah. So once I accepted the fact that I wasn't a Christian and didn't believe in God, I kind of went through about a 2-year phase where I thought something was actually wrong with me. Like, why don't I believe in a higher power of any sort? And just did some research. There's a little while I'm like, oh, Rastafarianism looks cool and all that, and started smoking some pot. And I'm like, well, wait a second.
This is just fun no matter what.
I'm just, this is just fucking awesome. Just Buddhism and stuff like that. It's like, okay, there's principles behind some of them that are awesome and I can agree with, but as a whole, none of it makes fucking sense.
No.
And that's when I stumbled on atheism, and I'm like, well, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah. Yes.
No. The answers are in what can be proven. There's no, smoke and mirrors. Like, well, some guy 600 years ago said this happened, so we're just gonna take his word for it.
Yeah, I mean, really, it could have been even a guy just writing some other shit down, like, yeah, this guy said some fucking shit that just might have happened. Says my other third cousin twice removed.
I know this book was written by a guy that thought the Earth, was the center of the universe, was flat. Couldn't really predict the weather at all or understand any form of weather or solar events going on, and yet they know everything about life.
Well, of course, yeah. Sheep herders definitely do. Yeah. I put all my trust in them.
So that's my religious background.
Okay. So to this day, at this moment, recording on the podcast, you are currently 110% atheist.
Yeah.
Neat.
That's simple.
well, Mr. Jake, you're up, sir.
I am up. So I suppose when was the pivotal change that occurred?
Yeah, I guess for a lot of people, it's not pinpointed to one place, but I think
it's a series of events.
It is a series of events, but you can kind of like see, okay, this is where the ball kept rolling, and it gains speed. So I don't know if that was for you, or like, well, fuck this. Yeah, everything's bullshit.
He's
No,
10.
no,
God damn this.
You know, the funny thing is, it actually isn't terribly far off, age-wise from that. That's kind of when the doubts start kicking in, when you finally start thinking a little bit for yourself. And,
Yeah.
When you find out Santa's bullshit, and then you're like, wait a second.
well, you know, in some ways, that does kind of, you know, prompt you to question other things. You know, you realize the Tooth Fairy's a load of shit. You realize that, you know, Santa's a load of shit as well. So, it just kind of gets you into sort of a cynical mindset about these things that aren't tangible and right in front of you. So I'd say it was probably, you know, teenage years more than anything. You start kind of figuring yourself out a little bit. And it was right around that time that I think I started questioning it. And it relates a lot to like what you were saying about when you were going through those family things and questioning, and you were sort of like asking for this assistance from this higher being because you're trying to get through this whole situation. And for me, it was more like a little more adolescent than that. It was like, you know, whether I was like really into a sports team or something, really wanting my team to win, so you'd ask God for help. Oh, let the Bulls win, or, you know,
Yeah.
really love if Michael Jordan got 40 plus points this game, you know, some silly adolescent kind of thing like that. And when you realize, like, through repetition that these things don't come true, you start, you know, it kind of breaks it all down. So I'd say that was the start of it. And then, you know, music and literature, I think.
It's always the music.
Yeah, really, yeah. It's
Manson, man, I'm telling you, like, that's the guy.
Well, yeah, you know, it was really nice to actually see somebody who was so clearly against, you know, he calls himself Antichrist Superstar. It was funny because when you saw that, you were like, wow, this person is really on the other end of the extreme. And so you listen to it and you're like, well, he's not struck down by a lightning bolt, so maybe I should give a little thought to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, it carried on. It was progressive in that you know, slowly the holes got bigger and bigger, and I realized there were a ton of other religions out there. There wasn't just Christianity. So, you know, how is it that the majority of people on the planet could be wrong, and that this particular Lutheran, you know, whatever is the
my
right
God.
one to...
It just doesn't
embrace,
make any
so-
fucking sense. That in,
Yeah.
in and of itself, like, if there's one religion that's right, then it should be across the entire world.
Yeah,
but since it
exactly.
fucking isn't, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
just look at our small town of Duluth. I mean, we have, what, 100 churches? Easily?
Yeah, probably, most
Yeah.
likely.
If you walk into any given
Close it
church
down.
on any given Sunday, they all preach different things from the same book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
None of them. I mean, they all agree on the same general things.
Yeah.
But different churches preaching from the same book will have different views on certain subjects,
Yes.
and just it's like, well, wait a second. How can you all believe the same thing but get different results? That doesn't make any sense.
No,
Yeah.
no. They agree on the principle of how to get there, but then when they get to the result that they're looking for, it's all made up that they've created this thing that is not what everybody else was going for, even though they all kind of took the same way to get there.
Well, it's always funny, though, that no matter what religion somebody believes in, when they're using it in an argument, it always agrees with what they're trying to say. Like they can always use their own religion to back up what they're trying to say or do. And it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Okay, well, what about what's with all the fucking mystery? What is up with all the mystery? If God's end all goal is that he or she, whatever, wants everybody to follow and get in line and be a part of this big cool club in the sky,
Just fucking say
what's
it.
up with the mystery and all of it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, we look at it like, yo, this is silly. We're beyond these kind of questions. But there's a ton of people that are at this juncture in their lives trying to figure it out. And that's, you know, it comes down to, like, what's up with this ridiculous mystery that's going on? Why hasn't the obvious route been shown if it's actually legitimate? So,
Yeah.
clearly it is.
Most people will say God wants you to work to find him, so you learn from experiences along the way.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes.
so fucking
It
stupid,
is.
though. It is.
Well,
It's so vague, and yeah, there's mystery about it. There's smoke and mirrors about it. Like, no, if there's an all-powerful being and he's benevolent and good and kind and wants everybody to get to heaven, You should just fucking say it. Like, hey, guy, here I am.
Stop
like,
being a dick.
there, get on the TV.
I got like 6 rules you need to follow. All right, just follow these 6 rules for like 80 years, and you can come up here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but no, obviously
Yeah,
we have to be tested, and there's cancer, and children die, and people
God.
starve to death, and there's hurricanes in fucking Texas
People
and
fucking
Florida.
drown.
You look at hurricanes, and I never understand this, but people are like, oh, thank God for letting us survive the hurricane. Yeah, but your God fucking killed 200 other people.
Yeah, but fuck your neighbor.
Yeah. And they're like, well, that's the act of the devil. Well, I thought your God was all high and mighty and powerful. Apparently not if you can't control a little fucking water and wind.
Well, I'm pretty sure Pope Francis even called the whole devil concept ridiculous. He's like, that's not even a thing. There's no hell.
It's a cop-out.
It's a very Jewish way to go to say that there's no hell, because they don't really believe in hell. They believe in like there's a little bit of a purgatory. Like you'll go down there for about 2 weeks. Once you're done, you'll go to heaven. Like that. Fuck, if I'm gonna be a religion, it's gonna be Jewish. Like not Orthodox Jew by any means, but at the same time, it's it's okay.
So what do you think you do in purgatory? Do you think you're just on an assembly line making
you gotta
cutting
listen
boards or something?
No,
Like,
you gotta listen to Joel Osteen talk every single fucking day.
Not like Kenny G.
No.
Hey man, Kenny G. All right,
It's just a
that
Merle
weird
Haggard
flute
concert
thing.
with Joel Osteen.
Right.
I don't know, purgatory, I guess that wouldn't be too bad. There'd be a lot of nothing going on. I mean, you just what would you do? Float?
I don't know. I feel like it'd be like playing Super Mario Brothers, and then there's just no ending to the game, so you're just kind of always playing. Like it's anticlimactic. You're just kind of.
For me, it's just
meandering.
being trapped in Texas for a couple of weeks. It just hot, fucking
The
weird,
heat, yeah.
weird people. Could be killed by water or wind or tornado or the heat.
I don't know. You might really dig Austin. I hear Austin's pretty sweet. It's kind of
Yeah, it's one big swimming pool
their
right
little
now.
adage.
I
don't know. Actually,
shouldn't
I
joke
don't think
about
that
that too
Austin
much.
is.
I mean, that does suck what happened, and I hope everything clears up. But
yeah, right.
I guess.
But I mean, we're sending you thoughts and prayers. Hopefully, that's enough.
Yeah, sorry, I
help you get
can't
back
give
on
you
your
any
feet.
money because I had to give it to Joel there. So I can't give you anything for your house or your dog or your car or your clothes or your medicine or your food or anything else.
No, that's one other thing I've noticed with religions. They're always like, oh, donate your money. Donate your money. You should donate 10% of your money to the church.
Yes, tithe as often
Why?
as you can.
What does God need to do with paper money?
Build
We
more
can-
churches.
And if
Yeah,
he actually
exactly. Build
if
more
he actually
churches.
can do something with paper money, does he have to do an exchange rate from when he gets money from Europe? Like, does he need to be American money?
What is the exchange rate for
Yeah.
heaven dollars? That's a good point.
Yeah. So I just don't get that. Like I noticed more with atheists that in a natural disaster such as Houston, they take more action. They physically do something, whether it's donating money to, Red Cross, or donations like diapers and food that they're sending down there. It's more physical things that people can need, as churches are more like, oh, give us your money and we'll send down a care package. Well, you still have to pay the pastor, the janitor, the light fee,
Yeah.
property tax.
As a general rule, it tends to be like that as well. Those churches, specifically the money-related ones, like the
Yeah.
mega churches, they would rather take money than actually physically go and do anything.
Yeah.
But for us up here in Minnesota, we could fly all the way down there and help, but is it financially responsible for us to do that, or is it better for us to donate for somebody who's already there to help? Like, I can see people up there doing that, up in Minnesota or somewhere else, to actually give church money, I guess, so long as it's going for the better cause and it's not being
Yeah,
like, well, we're going to take
just-
20% off the top for us because we need to get paid. It's not really volunteering, and it's not very American, and it's not very humanitarian, and it's
very
not
Christian.
very Christian.
So much. It was pretty awesome though to watch the. Have you guys watched any of the news coverage or anything, or just little blips that have popped up on Facebook? But one little video I saw in particular actually kind of, I wouldn't say restored faith in humanity, but it was definitely a supplement to it. In that, like, I haven't lost faith in humanity. That's what I'm saying. So anyway,
It's a matter of time. It's always like a thread.
I have a lot of faith in humanity, actually. But
Give it
anyway,
2 more
so
years.
this was pretty awesome. It was this video, and it was this car that was passing just a caravan of trucks and vans and cars and stuff that were pulling boats. And it was crazy. The car just kept going and going and going, and there was just this lineup for a couple of miles worth. And this was all people that were heading into Houston, that were just random people that were like, oh shit, I gotta go help out. I've got a boat and a truck, so I'm gonna head down there and do what I can. And it was really awesome. I mean,
no one dropped the ball on this.
Yeah.
No, it is nice to see people take the initiative and like, we got to do what we can do.
Oh,
it is very
yeah.
nice. Like it's not at that point it stops becoming the Christian thing and it becomes the right thing.
Yeah.
It's the human thing.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah. You really have to take care of your fellow people because they're your fellow people. Like you live next door to them, you live the town over for them. Just be fucking nice.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything more enriching than taking care of one another and giving a damn about your community and about the people around you? I mean,
I can't think of
I don't
anything
know.
off the top of my head to put us on the spot.
right?
So there's, since we know what place we are sitting with our thoughts on religion, there tends to be a little bit more now speak about which religion is actually worse. And I think for the time being, we have to be really honest with everybody in that it's obviously Islam. We know that point in fact that it is. Like, they are the religion of peace so long as you are Islamic.
Yeah, as long as you agree with them, they won't kill you.
Right. And don't get me wrong, Christianity is shitty overall and has done shitty things, like killing doctors at abortion clinics or killing gay people or killing black people in the name of their God. But
Or Muslims for being Islamic.
yeah, or
Which
just
doesn't
that,
make
just
any
the standard
sense.
bigotry. But Christianity is what, 500 years, give or take 100
Yeah.
past that point. So it's probably going to be in about another 500 for Islam to get to that point. It is not, wouldn't say that it's Islam for the general population of those who believe in it. It is more of those fringe ones.
Well,
Like
I think
ISIS,
that's true
Al-Qaeda,
for,
and so
I
on.
think that's true for any religion, though. I think religion has a great base to it. Like, I think the general rule of any religion is don't be a dick. Like, just, don't kill each other, don't steal from each other, all that. But then you take an extremist, and they're like, fuck you, you don't agree with me, I'll slash your tires and throw rocks at you.
I think it's a lot of the literalism that they take.
Yeah.
Like, if you were going to take the Bible literally, then there's a lot of death and killing
But
and
if you
murder
can't
and
take
rape.
if you can't take the Bible or the Quran literally, can you take it any other way?
Well, see, that's the thing too. You can't really take it literally. It must be
No.
taken literally because that's your religion. You're basing your entire culture, life, and everything else upon it. You should be taking it literally. And that point, when you do, it is making your society fall apart because you are staying with those laws, those rules that are incredibly ancient. You're stoning women for showing hair, for showing ankle. That is obviously not right. You're keeping
Depends on the
yourself.
woman.
Well, I suppose depends on the stoning, but it really does. It if you take something literally like that, you're doing the religion correctly. You really are doing it
Well, you
correctly.
read
But then you-
Deuteronomy, and I mean, need more.
Yeah,
But then
fucking-
you can't say it's a religion of peace, then, can you?
Well, no, it isn't. It's
No,
only a
no, none
religion
of
of
it is.
peace if you are following it and you're male, and that's about it. If
Yeah.
you are female, you're fucked.
Yep.
Like, it's just Bible's basically the same way.
Why is that? Why does it matter? No matter what religion is, they always degrade and hate women. I don't get that.
Because they're written by cavemen.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, there's really no other way to explain it. They're written by men because they didn't get laid in high school because they're fucking retarded.
Right. I don't know, but I mean, what we're doing right now is we're comparing a series of religions that are all ridiculously old, And I mean, you think about like the populations at the time, and maybe just like the level of education. It's not surprising when you actually look at Deuteronomy, and it's like, yeah, adultery. So you drag this woman out to what do they call it? They say the gates of the city, and you stone her to death. And that's like a very repetitive line in that section of the Bible.
And it's ridiculous that
everybody.
They still take that as like, this is what needs to be done. This is not the law anymore.
That like lack that that gray area understanding. It's like it's too abstract to consider that there are other means to address behavioral issues.
Yeah.
And like getting back on the topic even of Islam, I mean, it's definitely like the radicalization. It's like the brainwashing that's occurring with some of these people. I don't know that it's specific to Islam. It almost seems like it's with any religion. There's like these sects of really extreme-minded people who just cannot get outside of that.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Got a book that talks about these extreme measures to dispatch people that are non-believers. They're going to read that and be like, "Oh hell yeah, that's a great idea. I'd better go tear somebody's head off," and among other awful things.
I agree completely.
But what kind of deity do you believe in that would want you to live eternally with them if you are beheading people in their name?
Yeah, like that's just...
if I was a god and you cut somebody's head off for not believing in me in order to please me, fuck that.
Dude, what are you doing?
Whoa.
No!
Yeah.
That passage was rhetorical and supposed to be funny.
I created you in my image.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah. It's ridiculous that people will say, yes, God created us in our image, which, I mean, obviously, no. But to say that their God is loving and then go out and take the rights away from somebody who's gay for being, I don't know, gay, for being who they are, for being Muslim, and then they're gonna kill them. Like, that's not, no, your deity is not peaceful whatsoever in any shape or form. It
makes you look like an asshole.
It does. It makes you look like an asshole, and that's not the society that we want. That's not the societal standards of a good country or a good culture. That's not how it works. If you want to grow and get better, you have to cast away these ancient laws and rules that you have been trying, albeit successfully, to follow from a book that was made 2,000 years ago for no apparent fucking reason. That has been translated and translated and translated and translated and translated and translated.
Then, you have different versions of what the translation was.
Yeah, and then lost and found and triplicated.
Think about how much language has changed since that time.
Oh, man.
I mean, one
just
word
terminology.
means one thing 2,000 years ago, but it's not going to mean that now.
Exactly.
So they're guessing. They're translating best they can. So
Yeah.
who knows what some of those words actually mean?
The guy who translated could have just had a bad day and hangover, but fuck it, close enough.
Yeah, and they were all written by hand. This wasn't copy-paste shit. This was like people are getting hand cramps, and one little line going one way is going to be different. I mean, completely different things.
So, I mean, it could have 2,000 years ago said you need to fluff this dude, and then 2,000 years later it says you need to behead them, and,
I'd take the fluffing.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, why not?
I don't know. Doesn't it all just need a revision, though?
It really does.
I mean, isn't that
it? We've got a couple revisions as it is. The King James version, that's a pretty good revision.
It should just be tossed out, and we should just go back to don't be a dick. It can be a book. It'll look like it's got pages, but you open it up to the center of it, and it just says, don't be a dick.
That's a good religion. That's what is that? Dudism? Is that the philosophy that you go by, if I remember correctly?
Dudism is... It's a little bit of everything to an extent. It's pretty much just saying fuck it. There's really no way to explain it. It's pretty much saying fuck it, and it's cool that you're a Christian, but I'm not Christian, so fuck it.
There's moderate apathy.
Yeah,
it's
about just being
Mm-hmm.
chill and not giving a fuck about what other people believe in.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's some good.
Watch your own bobber. That's what it's
right.
about.
I absolutely love that saying.
Yeah,
watch your own bobber.
Just pay attention to what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You do you. I'll do me. We can do each other if you're into that kind of shit. But...
Shit. All right. So, has anybody had any kind of like bad experiences with religion, like firsthand? Because I personally, I've only had one, and it was recently. In my entire 31 years of being alive, I can't really say that I've had anything that has really poked out at me.
Well, you've never been to a Catholic church, then.
No, I haven't been to Catholic church. I've grown up in Minnesota in the north, which is very accepting of pretty much everybody, as far as I know. I don't.
Catholicism is a trip.
Yeah, see,
We'll
and I
just leave
was,
it at that.
I spent a while in the Bible Belt, so I've had some
You've
experiences.
got some stories. Okay.
So what, like, do you want from churches or do you want from family, friends?
Jesus.
Or Jesus, yeah. If he's
Jesus.
tied.
Oh yeah.
That reminds me, I can go for some bread with this.
Yeah.
Right.
I've only got half a loaf, so if you can spread it around a little bit, magically, if you can do that, that'd be awesome. Let's start out with churches, and then we'll hit friends and family if you're up to it.
Well, like I said, churches. I mean, I've never been called out by a church. It's just more attending a church service and then being like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" There's a church locally in town that my mother-in-law used to attend, and a lot of the guys there are part of biker gangs. They're covered head to toe in tattoos. One guy's
Is that up here?
It is.
Okay, no.
I'm not gonna say names because that's just not cool, but it's actually here in our side of town and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there's actually a tattoo artist that goes to the church and all that. And for people, I mean, they're rather accepting church. They don't give a shit if you're gay or not, but they preach the Bible.
Right.
But yet they're perfectly okay with tattoos and all that. And it's like part of the Bible actually tells you not to mutilate your body, not to do any form of body. You're made in God's image, and by getting tattoos, piercings, dyeing your hair, you're changing the image that God had intended for you.
Right.
And I pointed that out once while my wife was going with her mom, and I like to go just
for laughs.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a Sunday morning. What else am I gonna fucking do with a hangover? So
yeah, just go be angry at the church, a little more angry.
Exactly.
That's good.
But he actually was talking about this, and I'm just like, you don't understand what you're preaching, do you? Like, you don't understand the book that you're trying to share with everybody. Just I've had shit like that.
So you actually have had enough negative experiences with religion that you actually can give thought, like, well, which story should I tell?
Like I said, when my grandmother passed away, it was a church sermon, and one of my uncles has 9 kids now.
Jesus.
His younger kid is the same age as my 2-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his kids, I think, was like 6 at the time, 5 or 6. And the pastor was reading something she said that, grandma's in heaven with God. You're too fucking young to understand what any of those words mean. Mm. To me, that's brainwashing. It's like alcohol. There's a reason why you have to be 21 to drink alcohol. It's because the brain is not physically developed enough to consume alcohol. Religion's the same thing.
So you should have to be this tall to ride this ride.
Exactly. I've never got that, because the reason why they have Sunday schools and vacation Bible school and all that is kids will soak up anything.
It's
Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all proofs.
Mm-hmm. And you figure they try and get kids in as early as they can, and that's when that rapid development forms. Yep. So, like, if you're imprinting that at that super early age, then it's likely that it's going to stick with the kids.
Exactly. So they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about kids being dumb?
Kind of. Talking about experiences.
Kind of just talking about, like, how often kids are kind of indoctrinated at a super young age, and it's when that rapid development's occurring, and then they're really imprinting these concepts as a religion really on the kids early.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's consistent through walks of life, unfortunately.
My grandmother, when I was young, had me go up to my aunt while she was working at the mall and tell her that she was living in sin because she was living with her boyfriend and they weren't married.
How old were you?
Fuck. Maybe 6, maybe.
That's really fucked up.
My mom actually told her that if you ever say that shit to my kid again, you will never see your grandchildren.
Right.
Yeah. Luckily, my dad, I haven't talked to him forever, but my mom, like, not religious by any means, so I got lucky there. I've had that with family when I actually came out to my family about being an atheist, which is is the closest experience I've ever had coming out to anybody. I'm very straight, but I can imagine.
Yes. Well,
Trust
so
me,
far.
I haven't had enough beer in me yet.
Yeah, fair enough.
How many do you got there?
I got enough to turn them, I think.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But
A couple good-looking guys.
it was my high school graduation. A bunch of family came up, and I'm like, you know what? Now's the time.
High school graduation.
Yeah.
You got balls, sir. You got
so they're
massive testicles.
I got most of them up here. I'm like, cool. I'm like, they're in my part of the woods. If they don't like it, they can fuck off back to Kansas. No big deal. And I told them, I'm like, hey, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. And they're like, oh, you worship the devil. And I'm like, no, I don't believe in him either.
Yeah, I'm like, why does it go like that? What? They don't understand.
My exact words were, I don't believe in him either, but statistically speaking, using the Bible, he killed less people than God did.
Ooh.
By a lot.
By a lot. I'm like, and that's going off of your guys' numbers, right?
Yeah, like, I'm just letting you know, it was like a 0.01%. Like,
yeah, he killed like 12 people in the Bible, and God took out like, what, 1.5 million or some shit like that.
Well, however many were on the earth besides Noah.
Yeah.
But so that's what they thought. I'm like, oh, we don't want you to go to hell, and are we losing you? And I looked, I'm like, losing me? I look around the room, I'm like, I'm in the same fucking. I'm like, I'm not lost. I'm still here in Duluth. Like, I know where I'm at. Like, what the fuck you mean by losing me? And they're like, well, you know. Then I just got all the normal questions, like, why don't you believe in God? And they've been taught that shit since they were little kids, and that's all they know. And at that stage, they're too far gone to start thinking for themselves and thinking rationally. And
without probably a significant experience to challenge
it would take a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that, yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know how to deal with you people. I don't. It's like, no matter what I say, will never change your mind. You'll always think I'm the black sheep in the family. I'm crazy and shit. And
well, I mean, they're not like far off, I'm
no,
sure.
No. I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm not like smear peanut butter and let the dog lick it off crazy. There's a line.
You're not?
So far. How many beers do you have?
Where'd your dogs go?
You have two very large dogs.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
They look pretty hungry, man.
You could nom that peanut butter off your junk faster than you can believe.
Jesus.
Oh, wife's got competition then.
Ta-da.
Oh, man.
So,
All right.
have you had any experiences like that? Because it's,
you know, the funny thing is, I haven't had any like significant standout experiences. You know, and actually, thankfully, my parents were they were chill enough about it. We attended church pretty rarely. And it wasn't spoken overly at the house or anything. Just when
Easter,
we go to
Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah, and once in a while we try and go to church for that sort of thing too. So like it was all pretty laid back. So no, I didn't really have any negative experiences. In fact, a lot of the people that I'd met along the way were actually really enriching relationships that I had. So when I lived up in Virginia, I ran a janitorial business, and one of the contracts that we had was at a church. It was at a Catholic church. So I got to know two priests there who were really awesome people, and they were really welcoming of a lot of my questioning. The older gentleman, he was definitely a little more concrete in the conversations. It was very very regimented. It was like you could tell that this dude is, you know, in his late 80s, and he has been a priest his entire life, and he was just the sweetest, most angelic person. And then the other guy actually had a little bit of wit and pluck about him and would actually entertain some of my questions. So sat down with him one time, and we just had a really good series of questions. He let me walk in there with my little piece of paper that had all these really kind of loaded things on it, just like, well, what do you do with a person who's on a desert island, has never seen Christianity, and they croak, does he go to hell or whatever? And so, you know, we got to have those kind of conversations, and excuse me, and that was actually really valuable. It was really nice to be able to do that. So in that respect, I've had a lot of positive experiences there.
God.
Didn't get any
like
answers.
two ends of the spectrum.
I got
here
some more
coming
stories
on.
for you.
So, I mean, I didn't get any answers, obviously.
Well, yeah, right.
Which we're
you're
not
here.
going to. But I will say that I've met a lot of really good people because of it, too.
Definitely.
I've developed a good relationship with my friend through religion, I guess, because like I said, we'd spend time on Sundays going to church. But my experiences are definitely more negative. When my wife and I were going through the whole getting married process and all that crap, she wanted to get married in a church. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm like at the building.
No,
Whatever.
don't get married in a church, dude. It's hot all the time.
No,
if there's a
no.
hell on earth, it's in a church because they don't have air conditioning.
Or because it smells like a gym shoe.
Jake and I drew boobies though on the whiteboard in the basement.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Oh, it was me too, right?
Yeah.
I draw some wicked boobs.
Some anatomical biology right there.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done. Science.
Yes.
But,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's science.
My contribution.
We got turned down by a lot of people. It was really hard to find somebody to marry us and a place to do it, because as soon as I opened up my mouth, we were rejected. We had one guy not even return our phone call because my wife's like, "Oh, he's an atheist and I'm agnostic," and the guy did not even return our phone call. We actually sat down with one guy because she wanted to do the counseling, because I think it saves like $100 or some shit like that. And he's like, "Well, do you live together?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, well, that's really frowned upon by the church." I'm like, like, I'm not gonna buy a car and not drive it around the block a few times first. All right?
Good analogy. Well, all right, hang on. I'm going to stop you there with that one thing. It's frowned upon in the church to live with your significant other. However, it is not frowned upon to rape children.
No.
What?
They just cover that up. It's the age.
If I had to guess, if you were to actually ask a lot of Christians whether or not raping children is okay, I'm sure that we would get a lot of objections to it. But that doesn't change the fact that, there was a lot of cover-up that's been going on for the last 20 years.
Oh, it's been long.
So they're not old enough
the
to...
raping hasn't only happened in that period of time.
Well, right.
They're
But
not old
it's come
enough
to
to...
light.
Come to the surface.
They're not old enough
Yeah.
to consent, though. Does it really count as rape?
Jesus Christ.
Good question. I will maybe get an answer. Probably not.
But yeah, we got turned down quite a bit, as you can probably tell by my tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one guy he came to our house, super friendly, shook our hand, wanted to know a little bit of our background, and I told him straight up, like, we'll start with mine. I'm like, I don't believe in your God. I don't believe in any God, for that matter.
You sure it wasn't your attitude?
Just
First of all, fuck your God.
So yeah, he left right away.
Uh-huh.
And there's even churches that wouldn't let us get married in it because we either A, didn't belong to the church, or I'm not religious and they didn't like that. The one church we found was the guy who turned us down for the marriage counseling. And my wife's like, "Fuck it, whatever." He's like, "I also won't marry you because you don't believe in God and you're not part of the church." Okay, go fuck yourself, I guess.
Yeah, like, how do you... Well, I guess we believe in God now. How are you going to test that?
The guy who married me, it's the same guy that married Jake. It's actually a buddy of ours.
Oh, is it really?
Who's an online ordained minister. But so yeah, the guy let us use the church, and he was one of the biggest dickheads I've ever experienced and encountered in life. Just super big asshole. Made a big deal about moving some sound equipment off the stage, and
Well, didn't your wife end up getting into it with him too at some
yeah,
point? 'Cause he was
my
such a
grandmother stepped in as well.
Yeah.
Everybody, he's like, "Well, you didn't say anything about having the stage cleared off." She's like, "Yeah, because I really want to get married in front of your fucking drum set."
What the fuck?
Yeah, so it's just always a bad encounter, just always, and that's that's primarily the reason why we left the titties on the board downstairs in the Sunday school room.
Well, somebody needs to see boobs.
Exactly.
Oh, nobody there is.
So yeah, all negative usually. Some decent encounters, but mainly negative.
Yeah, that's such a bummer. I mean, it's hard to come back from that too. It's
There's,
I don't
I thought most churches were supposed to be accepting and want more followers. And to do so, you think they would try to reason with you and understand you rather than just shun you away instantly.
Well, I mean, you'd think that would be the right thing to do.
That's logical, and it's religion, so they don't go hand in hand.
And it's actually, it's kind of nice that they do that, because then they're getting rid of more people that would have gone to that
true.
church. I mean, then they're making more of us. Well, I mean, at least in the I don't go to church thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, everybody's making more of us because we all fucking
Well, yeah, I mean, biologically, we're making things.
Biologically, they're making
so you
more of
understand
us.
the process. That's good.
So you stick the round peg in the round hole, and
Does it have to be a round hole?
Not always the star-shaped one, but sometimes.
any of those shapes will fit in any of those holes if you just force it enough.
I thought about going there, and I'm glad I didn't.
You know me, I have no filter. We've established
I'm
this.
pretty sure that's a hashtag.
It is a
Yeah,
hashtag.
It is. Big, black, and bold.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't really say, like, when I
Yeah,
came
Aiden,
out,
So tell me, when did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
I was 13, as most young adolescent boys, and I think really what started the culmination.
Summer camp?
It's always summer camp. I was there constantly.
Godless summer camps.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
The summer of '69.
It was the summer of 69. I am actually 1,000 years old. But I think really what did start it was the whole, like, Santa Claus thing. Like, Santa Claus isn't real. It's just been, me and your dad the entire time. All like, okay, that's got to be the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Right
You're like,
there.
well,
you kind of
what
learn that.
What else are you lying to me about?
Yeah, pretty much. And you kind of like, okay, Santa Claus isn't real. He was the most realistic thing.
Yeah, and
Therefore,
Santa gives you free shit.
yeah.
Oh, right.
So to chop that one right off the bat, they should just start with, "Hey, God's not real," and then I'd still believe in Santa though, because I'm like, cool, he brings me presents.
Well,
How's
at
this
least
guy
Santa's
not
real.
real?
Yeah, I know God's not real, but Santa Claus,
Okay, I can
come
stop
on.
eating the wafers and the wine. Cool. All right. Do I get my bike though? That's what I want to know.
If I don't
Yeah.
get my bike, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed off. That I think that's really kind of what throws it in there, because Santa has, like, essentially the same kind of thing that God does: all-seeing, all-knowing. If you're not good, you get coal, or you go to a place that has coal. If you're good, you get rewarded with stuff.
Heated with coal.
Yes, heated with coal. And obviously after that, the Tooth Fairy's not real. The Easter Bunny's definitely not real, though those two seem kind of hokey to begin with,
Yeah.
But the
I-
Krampus? Krampus
Krampus
is legit.
Yeah, the
Don't
only thing that's
fuck with
believable.
Krampus.
Yep.
That is 100% like, you believe in Krampus or he'll fuck your shit up.
Yeah. We've seen the movie.
Yes. But yeah, I think it really did go back to that point of it. And I came out to my mom at the time that, like, yeah, I'm an atheist. I just didn't know what to call it up until then, because they don't tell you words. They don't
almost
let you
seem
know.
You almost seem helpless, and then you get it out, and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, I guess that's it. And the
Yeah.
world is what the world is. Everything
Well,
is objective.
I'm not in flames.
Exactly.
You know,
I haven't died. There's no lightning bolt to kill me.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
life
that's-
goes on.
You go take a nap and go about your day.
I mean, hopefully you'll wake up unless you have an aneurysm or something. But if you have an aneurysm, well, there you go. Done.
Your mom's just standing over. You should have believed.
I
I told
knew
you.
it. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I didn't really have any run-ins with other people telling them, like, I didn't believe in God. It didn't really come up. I mean, if it does,
Yeah.
I'll certainly talk about it, but I don't want to avidly go search for it, because people will either, in my experience of reading and learning, that there's two things that are going to happen. One, they're going to talk to you and tell you you're going to hell, and there's no reasoning amount of it. Or two, they're
just like, okay.
Okay, they just
Yeah.
don't care, which is awesome. I mean, that's really how it should be. But at the same time, you don't want to go out and get yelled at because you're going to go to a place that you don't believe in. I mean, it doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
When I talked to my buddy down south about that, because he's still a Christian, and when I told him, I mean, he's like a brother to me. So I'm like, this isn't gonna go well.
Yeah.
I was preparing to enter a friendship, actually, and he took it surprisingly well and whatnot. I told him, like, dude, just look at it this way. I'm like, my opinion is that there's no God. Your opinion is there is. Like, we're both entitled to our opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, but there's always a correct opinion.
Yes, but it's one
More
of those. It's
logical
one of
one.
those mutual things, though, that we just don't talk about it. We agree to disagree, and that was fucking 10 years ago. And
Yeah, I mean, if you
worked
can
out just
sweep,
fine.
if you can sweep something like that under the rug, like,
I think
okay, we've
that's
gotten
like,
it out.
That's like best case scenario.
Yeah, you really did hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like you said, most religious people are like, "Oh, you're gonna go to hell," which is pretty much just saying "fuck you."
Yeah, like, what are you trying to scare me with?
That's some
Hell?
dark shit.
It's the polite way to say "fuck you."
It is. It really is. As polite as eternal hellfire can be, I guess. Like it. So, Jake, have you had anything that has been anything really that's popped up as far as dealing with something like this? Have you had any conversations with somebody that's been ultra religious and tried to sway your mind for it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually have some family who are extremely religious, and thankfully for the most part, we all just kind of keep our distance on these topics. Like it hasn't really came up, but then I also haven't been terribly aggressive about putting my opinion out there, just because when you're agnostic or you're 3/4 of the way to atheist or you're full-blown atheist, it's really hard to have those conversations with family, because if they're completely brainwashed in their religion, they think that you're going to hell. So it becomes really real and really dark, and they love you, so they're concerned about it. Like, oh my gosh, like that's the result. What's going to happen for this person? So thankfully those conversations haven't really happened, but I do have one cousin who is a little bit of an extreme with the religion. Distant, not like a fairly immediate cousin. I don't even remember how many times.
How many removed out there?
What's the metric for that? How do you calculate the whole cousin
can
thing?
marry
I don't
your
fucking know.
second cousin.
You can.
Right?
You can.
Well, you are from
but
Kansas.
You shouldn't.
That's the only one I know.
Oh, man.
What? Is that something that they teach people down south? All right, so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to learn who of your family you can marry. First cousins are not it.
It's more of a
Awesome.
safety label. Like sex ed. All right, here's
You break it, you buy it.
Is it like friend zone, but it's for family? Like some people are within that
kind
circle, and
it's how you
others
keep
are
your
fair
religion
game.
closer. Actually, you just
Sure.
keep it all one big clusterfuck of.
And
Gotcha.
I wouldn't put that past any of the idea for it. Like,
God, I'm sure some. See, that's the thing about religion, though.
Listen to the other religion. If you listen to all of the religions, criticize all the other religions, even if it's different denominations of Christianity itself, they all shit talk each other. Like we're listening to a bunch of sports fans and shit talking football teams
Instead of coming together for the greater
goofy.
good and just be like, oh, well, we all believe we're gonna go to this awesome place if we all just get along and not be dicks. Let's just focus on that then.
Yeah. Golden rule: don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one-page book.
Yep.
Best religion ever.
Yep,
I don't know if that would
we're
work
starting
though.
we're
I
starting
don't
a
know if it
religion.
would.
Yep.
I can't see that working though.
Gonna get
Yeah.
done.
Point in fact, Islam. I mean, you
Right.
take a bunch of sects of Islam, you divide them out. They all generally have the same one. Let's assume that they're not all literalists and that they all take the Bible subjectively, like Christianity does. Pick a church; it's going to be different.
Yep.
So they can't really all come together, because if they do, then we'll have the Christian Sharia law and everybody will get their head cut off.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if they didn't take everything literally, but they do, so that makes it a problem. But I do understand where you're going,
They
obviously.
do and they
I do.
don't, though.
Well,
They take things literally when it backs up with what they're trying to say.
Right, Christianity
yeah.
does.
Yeah, Islam.
Right.
Islam though is a little bit more.
They're
Black
very
and white.
they're very regimented into this is what Allah says, this is what Muhammad did.
Yeah.
And if you deviate from that, you are going to go to hell. Tough cookies.
Yeah, that's fine.
My guess is
Well,
that
yeah.
Islam has a little more to do, like it's a little more cultural in the way that it's in the outcome of its practices. So I think if you were to take Islam and you were to teach it to a bunch of well-educated, whether it's American kids or Scandinavian kids, or I'm just trying to think of any other countries that are leaning a little more atheist, I guess. But so you teach it to them, and these are probably pretty well-educated countries.
Very
And
well
so
educated, yes.
you do this in the Middle East, where education is really suppressed or kind of manipulated, and I think it's really easy to breed that kind of ferocity in in these people. You know, like if you're not educated and you are just having this driven into your head that there's infidels everywhere that we need to
cleanse
mutilate
the
in the
earth
name
from
of our
everybody.
God, and we're like, all the women are super hidden away, and we're told that we get, you know, our pick of 50 virgins or whatever the hell it is in heaven when we go and mutilate a bunch of these infidels. You know, you just think about like that, the recurrence of that education, that it just keeps happening and you have no other sources of information. I'm not surprised that it gets to that extreme. So I have to wonder, you know, when you teach it to other populations, if it wouldn't be a completely different result, and that's just more subjective and cultural.
That's a good point. I bet you it would be. Those who are more, not all the time, but more often than not, the more intelligence that you actually have as a person, the more educated you are, the more well-learned you are, you tend to take everything that comes at you more skeptically.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're more defensive about it. You want to know. You want an answer. You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to guess. You want legit. Okay, we can prove this. I can see it with my own two eyes. This is what it is.
It's that repetition of questioning that has brought you to this point of being so well educated that you should question everything, because if something is wrong, then you can reformat it, learn what is correct, whether as you take everything at face value, not look any deeper into it, not question anything else. You're going to have that, what they have in the Middle East is, that's it. They have the Quran, nothing else.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
well, we're taught critical thought, you know,
Yeah.
right away. I mean, I'm pretty sure as soon as we're, in high school, 7th, 8th grade, at least for me, it was around that time when they started introducing the idea of critical thought. And so that kind of aligned with the scientific method, too. They were taught around the same time.
Very much so.
It should almost be taught sooner, though.
Oh, goodness.
I agree.
Yeah.
It really should.
Right away.
I mean, kids at a young age are smart and they're gullible, and they just soak up everything. We teach them at 5, 6 years old, like, okay, so you stacked your bricks a certain way and they all fell down right away. Why?
Yeah.
No, why wasn't this balanced out? No, learn, think about it, put some time and effort into it, and then fix it and get a better outcome. I think that, and that goes to what we were saying earlier, is religion always attacks children. And there should be a law on it. Like I said, 18. Don't teach your kids religion till they're at least 18, because they go after minds that just don't know any better.
Yeah, it should.
They're still developing.
Very much.
And they're like, oh, mommy and daddy said this is what's right, so well, mommy and daddy must know everything, because in the eyes of a child, mom and dad are God.
Oh yeah.
And they'll do whatever mom and dad says.
Which is unfortunate sometimes, especially when it comes to how you're going to live your entire life from that moment forward. Besides, like, hey, just be good, and that's really all you need to do is just be good.
I've said it many times. I mean, it would hurt me a little bit on the inside if my kid was religious in one way or the other, but ultimately my main goal is don't be a dick. As long as she grows up and she's not an asshole to other people, good parenting.
Yeah, you've done your job if your kid turns out good.
Yep, she's not, beating up old people and robbing liquor stores. So
you got all those stereotypes about atheists.
Yeah, going to the adoption agency and getting food for tomorrow. Like,
see, that reminds me of an experiment I've actually wanted to try. So we should start a GoFundMe for this. I want to do AA, but I want it done with different religions, because they always use Christianity. So what do you get the same results if you use Hinduism, if you use Islam, if you use Buddhism? If you use different religions, can you make people sober?
There's actually been a study on this versus not so much different religions, but taking AA and it's Christian based versus just doing it, not even going to AA, just quitting whatever it is by itself. You will have equal people quitting, no matter which one you do, regardless.
So long as I have the mindset that, hey, I don't want to do drugs and alcohol anymore.
Yeah, that's really all it takes. You just have to have that determination not to do anything bad. And you should be putting the power in yourself to be able to do that. I understand what AA is kind of going for, in which they say, okay, because you are in this weakened state, try to put your power into something else. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a bike. It could be a tree.
Doesn't that come full circle, though, to religion attacking a weak mind that's hungry
Exactly.
for something?
Yeah, I agree 110%.
All they're doing is taking a physical addiction and turning it into a mental addiction now.
Right. And once you get to that point of coming out of that addiction, whatever it may be, you haven't placed the due credit into yourself. You've placed it into whatever you thought helped you, even though the only thing that did it was you and your own capability, which is doing things by yourself like that and getting out of that addiction. Actually, really, like, you can thank yourself. You've done a good job. Pat yourself on the back.
You should send that article. You should find that article and send it to me. My mother-in-law's husband he's done recovering. I mean, he's been sober for like 20 years. But he went through AA and all that, and that's how he found God and everything. And I've told him, like, you don't take any credit for anything. I'm like, you're the one that stopped doing drugs and alcohol. You're giving your credit to an imaginary person. It's like, so God's plan all along was to make you go through this horrible time in your life where you were a horrible human being just to find him? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, not at all.
So,
not at all.
You should send that to me so I can share it with
see if I can definitely find it.
It's like, no, you had this in you all along. It was your will.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It was a nice, sobering experience, huh?
Yeah.
It is. It takes away the happiness that you should give to yourself that you feel. I know this for 100% fact because I went through that same thing. I was an alcoholic and then quit. And
I don't want to do this. Okay.
Yeah. And then that was it. And lo and behold, ta-da! It fucking worked.
Yeah,
right.
And I only have myself to thank. Yay.
But you should thank yourself. I mean, too many times people do something awesome and they thank a deity for it. Oh, you removed the cancer in my daughter. Thank you, God.
Yeah, don't thank the doctors or the chemotherapy.
Yeah, he went to school
or
for like
else.
20 fucking years. He was operating your daughter for 4 hours. Come on.
Yeah, you know who fucking saved you? Fucking science saved you,
Exactly.
stupid. God damn it. Yeah, I'm very angry about that.
Oh, I think all three of us are very angry about that kind of stuff. Hence why we're here talking. We're letting our emotions and our feelings out.
That's good.
It's supposed to be healthy
So
for
I
us.
have to wonder, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Australia right now is going through that same marriage equality thing that the States were
Really?
doing recently.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so there's a big vote that's going to be happening soon. I don't think it's happened yet. I want to say it was like middle-ish of September or something like that. But yeah, they're voting on whether or not to legalize gay marriage equality.
Why is this a question still in the
Who cares?
21st century?
Yeah, and I mean, even relating to our topic, I have to wonder, like, well, how... Because, you know, each country's kind of got their percentage of religion, how religious the population is. And I have to wonder kind of where Australia lands in all of that.
They're actually surprisingly low, but they do have a lot of religious influence in the government.
Which doesn't make any sense considering it's a country founded on inmates and outlaws and bad people.
Yeah. But that's where all the weak minds are and all the religion is. I mean, it used to be more religious, but they have increasingly gone more and more secular, just like the United States has.
Okay.
Not, I think, a little bit more to the extent that the U.S. has, but they still do have that very large religious influence within the government. They don't have the same separation of church and state, just like Canada doesn't. Canada has a state religion, as it were, just like England. But it's along the same lines of, it's there, but meh.
No one cares.
Nobody really cares.
It's not like us where we're supposed to be separated.
But we're not.
But yeah, but we're not, and there's too many people that don't want us to be separated. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No, and it really should be. You replace Christianity with Buddhism or Catholicism or Judaism or Islam or whatever it is that you believe in, and everybody that's Christian will go up in arms about that. What do you think everybody else thinks? But they don't reflect upon it, apparently.
This is why we need better education in the United States. Plain and simple.
I agree.
Yeah.
But, yeah, back to your point of I can't believe that they're voting on this like now. I mean, it's good that they are. Obviously, should allow it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of the beautiful thing is that it's actually occurring. So it's kind of been a I don't know, it's been a domino effect. You know, the U.S. was sort of like the first to really. We weren't the first, obviously, but like it was in the news worldwide, and so I feel like that's had some of a domino effect with a lot of these other countries.
Oh, I'm sure it has.
Ireland was right after as well,
which is very surprising because how Catholic is Ireland? Right. Like, that is ridiculous. I can't believe they actually did it.
Maybe it's a Catholic facade, you know, or maybe they're just open-minded. You know, maybe they practice their religion and they decide to omit these parts that do suppress people. I don't know, maybe.
We're not living over there. I would hope that they actually do. And it's good that the Pope came out and said, you know, gay people are fine. They're not, even though he's still the Pope. But at the same time, he's actually saying this like, everybody needs to cool the fuck down.
He's
about
a pretty
whatever.
kick-ass Pope.
He is. He is a pretty kick-ass Pope.
It's the Pope that the world needs right now when everybody else is moving to these extremes. He's finding this really nice kind of middle ground and saying, like, you know what? These hot topics, they aren't that big of a deal.
Right.
Gay people are fine.
Yeah,
you know,
they're
there isn't
just
a hell.
gay.
Be a good person. Practice your religion. You know, I don't know. He's exactly what we need at this point out of Catholicism.
Yeah, he's become very more moderate, as it were. He's not all fire and brimstone as it was with
what's the fellow before John
Benedict or something.
Yeah.
Or Pope John Paul was before Benedict, because Benedict was
Benedict was
the Star Wars, the Nazi, the Star Wars guy.
Star Wars.
Man, he looked like who's Darth Vader's Lord? What's his
Senator Palpatine?
Yeah, he was Palpatine.
God, yeah, I'm drawing a blank on.
Yeah, fucking looked exactly like him.
Bunch of nerds.
I know.
Step away for 2 seconds and you're talking about Star Wars.
Well, we have to.
You know, it's.
Weirdly,
Star Wars is kind of like religion.
It is.
That was a long time ago. And
Star Wars can be dangerous too if you take it to that extreme. We all just need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, everybody just cool it. Don't worry.
Just chill. Yeah, but I'm wondering how religion is affecting that whole conversation. In Australia, that is, with this marriage equality, and you know, if that's you've got heads of state that are coming out and chattering about how it's against the religion or anything like that. So I'm curious.
Stupid to think that way, though.
My
religion says it's wrong, so it's got to be wrong for everybody else. Well, I don't believe the same shit you do, so fuck off.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's that you should believe the same thing that they do.
Stupid.
Well, yeah, I agree 100%. It is stupid. But once you start forcing beliefs, no matter what they are, whether it's atheism on Christianity or Christianity on atheism, and that's really what we have to go on. There's more Christians in the entire United States than there is Catholics, Jews, or whatever else.
Well, Christians are pretty much Catholics. I mean, it's
all the Abrahamic religion anyway. So you just bunch up those, and then there you go.
Yeah.
It's all pretty much comes from the same damn book with the same damn teachings.
Yeah, some random white dudes in a desert in the Middle East.
Yeah, of course they're white. Obviously, that makes sense. But yeah, if you start not having an open conversation upon Christianity and atheism, or Christianity and Satanism, or Catholicism and Buddhism, if you're not open to having an actual conversation instead of trying to convert somebody, and conversion's fine so long as you can bring the good set ideas to the table and reason with them well, instead of trying to shove them down each other's throats via laws and threats of punishment for going to prison and jail, which is
just
ridiculous.
Just recently, actually this may have happened about 2 years ago, there's a town in Wisconsin that actually made it illegal to discriminate against atheists.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't remember how long ago it was. It was just within the last few years. But they passed that as a law, is that you can't turn down an employment or fire somebody based off their belief in, well, nothing.
And it's unfortunate it has to be a law,
I know,
but it's good that it's there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'd be curious how that plays out and in what ways there's been suppression because of it.
Yeah, and I made a comment on it, and my religious family found out about it and whatnot, and they're like, well, what are you talking about? There's no, no one's trying to hold back atheists and all that. It's always attacks against Christianity. I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm like, every time I go to pay something using cash or a coin,
Yeah.
it's being used against me.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
Oh, it says in God we trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are constantly trying to hold everybody else back.
Yeah, you're holding people back by not educating them. You're holding people back by not bringing more science to the world. You're holding people back by
not
imposing,
giving them a choice.
by not giving them a choice,
Yeah.
by
It's
making
simple.
laws that are covering everybody
Yeah.
that are religious.
Not
like
not
that's
just the white
holding
Christians.
people back.
We want everybody involved.
Yeah, this is the United States of America, not the United States of Sharia law. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off.
You know, it's not surprising though that a lot of these religious groups are feeling as though they're under attack. Because I mean, anybody who's kind of been at the top, anyone who's been in control. I mean, you can even use sports analogies for this. A team that's been winning the championship for year after year after year.
Chicago Bulls, 1990s.
bunch of old fuckers.
You know,
Yeah.
when they're kind of dethroned from their position, you know, they're gonna feel as though they're under attack
Yeah.
because they're no longer the champion of all of it. So when you've got the dominant religion, in this case in the U.S. being Christianity, and that's kind of fading a little bit, and they're seeing a lot of the holes that are happening, and the youth aren't buying into it in the same way that the earlier generations were. They're gonna feel as though they're under attack.
No, I completely agree. And they're not under attack in the sense that, atheists are going out and bombing churches and
No, not at all.
and trying to attack
It's the
Christians on the
fucking opposite,
street.
if anything.
Yeah. They're under attack in the sense that people are just trying to get smarter. like people are just
They're just not buying in.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking at what a religion has to offer, and they're like, well, I don't get any of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way this can be possible.
Yeah, what your religion's offering to me isn't enriching my
Exactly,
life.
yeah.
It's just not
And-
working. So I'm not here. I'm not buying in.
And I think the reason why we're seeing an increase in agnostic and atheists throughout the entire planet is technology's advancing, where at any given moment you can find out anything you want to know right there at your fingertips.
Yeah,
And more people are realizing that, and like, oh, I have a question on this. Oh, well, that's not right. This is the correct answer to what I was looking for.
yeah, exactly. It's never been such a free exchange of knowledge in the world's history. You know, and even just for finding groups and companionship and just good conversations. You know, we're so connected now that you're not just like one person whom can only pick up the phone and call somebody to have a conversation about religion. Now you can just hop on, and you could back in the 90s you could grab a chat room
Yeah.
and start talking about
nowadays
religion.
there's Facebook pages out there. There's
Oh,
forums.
exactly.
There's
Yeah.
YouTube channels. I mean,
Yeah, and so that's really helped to, I think, connect people, and then it rules out a lot of that doubt, and you can share information and become more educated, and yeah, it's been kind of a beautiful age of sharing that.
it really has. And I mean, hopefully people are in a well enough situation in their life and their household that if they're on the fence, they're not sure if they believe in one thing or not, that they're comfortable to talk to the people that they have at home, and the resources, like you said, they do have to say, hey, I have questions, who do I talk to? And hopefully the person on the receiving end gives them good information and doesn't try to bullshit their way through it.
Yeah. So we were talking about how religion is because in a lot of ways, like Christianity has been kind of the top dog for a long time.
Right.
It's going to feel under attack when they're kind of losing their title, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are moving on from it or questioning it, and there's just a lot more conversation about it now. So of course they're going to feel like they're under attack because they're no longer this uncontested.
Yeah, they're not king of the hill anymore when
the
there's other
US.
people coming up like education and science
Yeah.
and
You say
progress.
King, you say king of the
People
hill, and I just
questioning.
think propane and
Propane accessories.
Propane.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it is very true. It's very true that that's what's happening. I don't know if they can really see what they're actually doing to everybody. To say that, well, I'm up here. Why should I share this mount with anybody else? Well, you should, because it's A, the right thing to do, B, the Christian thing to do. And use your rules against you, and I'll keep on doing it. And it's the American thing to do. It really is. Like, just share it with everybody. Everybody must be equal. We, the people, are equal. We're equal.
In a weird sort of way, though, I think religion is starting to hurt itself more than it is doing anything.
Absolutely.
Like, religion causes more atheists than I think atheists convert atheists.
100%.
I'm not standing out in the fucking street with a sign saying, convert to atheism.
Exactly. I'm not sitting at the state fair saying, hey.
I don't have dead babies on a fucking sign out in front of a building.
I do have
so
that, though.
far.
I do have that, though.
Christianity kills babies.
That's level 4. You haven't quite gotten there yet.
Oh, I haven't? I haven't graduated
no.
that.
Then you get the recipes. Level 5.
The recipes.
So you got to do it raw first.
Oh my god.
Crockpot.
We're not telling
Dude,
dead
you
baby
just said
jokes.
that
We're
shit
not
and you
going
forget
there.
it.
We're not going there. I think we need to give a bigger disclaimer to people before we go there.
Anyways, but yeah, I think religion though does more harm than good against themselves because they tend to be less accepting of others. I mean, rather than just a hint of open-mindedness and be like, oh, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about this. Instantly, oh, you're wrong. No. Whatever you're saying, it's completely incorrect. We disagree with you. And rather than just thinking logically and be like, well, the Bible says this and our beliefs show this, so it's okay that you might think these things, but this is where we stand. They tend to be a little bit more harsh and a little bit more willing to push people away.
I'll say that sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
Okay.
Taking a drink.
My experience with Mormons I think they were Mormons. Yeah, Mormons.
You know Mormons?
I've talked to a lot of them. I'm one of those people who loves to have a good conversation.
But there's Mormons up here?
Oh yeah.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's
what small fucking
there's
bubble
Mormons
am I
this
in?
neighborhood. There's a couple of dudes that wander around in their suit and tie and they go house to house and go preach the word, man.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were around here. That's kind of neat.
I've had a lot of
every time they come to the door, she's like, "No, you can't answer that."
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's like she's like, "You're busy. Go inside."
But I've had some really good conversations with them. I don't know, 6, maybe 8. They always come in pairs of people that I've talked to over the years. And it never goes anywhere because it's just, it's a couple of people that are standing around in a parking lot or at my door or wherever out in the city I've run into them. Mostly in Canal Park, actually.
Really?
They're trying to get the tourists.
Force in Canal Park. But,
yeah.
You're not from around here. Here's God.
No, but it's like
here's a coffee.
Yep.
They're totally prepared for the conversation. Like they know that non-believers are going to have a couple of questions for them. They're gonna engage. If they're not gonna just tell them to go fuck themselves, and they're gonna engage with them, there's gonna be a good little bit of conversation, a little bit of banter maybe. And so far it's been really nice. Like they really kind of preach that just be a good person kind of tenement so far.
Is there a Mormon flowchart though? Like, oh, so he said this, so I got dropped down to the second
totally
square. Okay, I'm
I
supposed
bet you
to play
for the
with
new
this.
ones, the new Mormons that are going around and preaching their word. That I bet you. Okay, I tick the box. Number 1, no. Okay, just
well, these guys didn't have to reference any manual or anything, so they must be really good. They're like a fourth level
Momo.
Yeah, exactly.
They get their Mormon recipes on the 5th level still, though.
So we're
gotcha.
kind of taking those recipe tenets from the Mormons. That's okay. I mean, as long as I get my coffee, I'd be a Mormon, I guess.
Have you ever had Mormon coffee though?
I can't say I haven't, but it's decaf.
It'll scare the hell out of you.
Boo! Boo! In with the dad joke.
Jesus Christ.
I'm preparing.
No kidding. Can't offend anybody on the Mormon podcast. The Mormons.
But hey, at this point, wouldn't you take a Mormon in the Oval Office over El Trumpador?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to talk politics. That was one of my main
I know,
rules.
right?
But it's too
I was
easy
just
to
chuckling,
cross
so I was like,
that
wow,
line,
we haven't
but-
even said that name yet, and then here I go.
Yeah.
Well, there it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
there are a
All in
lot
its
of things
orange
I would,
glory.
Yeah, I would pick a lot of things over the burnt Cheeto.
Yeah.
Big, fat burnt Cheeto.
Yeah. So religion.
So Donnie, when did you first start eating babies?
Well, I was 16. It was a Friday, and my parents weren't home. And I
Was
just
it
wanted,
the 13th?
I wanted a snack before soccer, so I'm like, I'll just nibble on the fingers, and next thing I know, I'm like halfway through the esophagus, and
There it goes.
yep.
You
Full-fledged.
left the diper though, right? You didn't go
Well,
there, or
yeah.
did you go all?
No,
It's like-
I left
it's like
the diaper. It's actually rather good with hummus.
I get the image of like bad avocado when you
Yeah.
said that.
It's like, yeah, you form the hand into a little scoop, and you just shovel it in.
I still
my
like licking the fingers. You know, you just little dip them in
Finger
like
looking good.
yeah, you just dip them in a little bit of Cheeto dust, and then you just.
Christ. Oh, we are going to hell.
Oh, that's right. It's nice and warm. There's no snow.
I hate the warmth,
There's
man.
most likely beer.
Jimi Hendrix is there.
Exactly.
Where else do you want to be?
Fair enough.
Yeah, fuck it.
I think that about wraps up our hour and a half. We're definitely gonna do a part 2 with you guys.
Yeah, if you check out the website, you can find all the recipes.
It's atheismeatsbabies.com.
Yep.
We haven't gotten to a 501c3, so it's gonna be a .com for a while. Someday we'll get the .org.
But we
Set
do
up a
have
Patreon.
some. We do
Yep.
have some great microwave options. 3 minutes or less when you're on the go.
Yeah, for those who need to cook alone and eat your babies. Yeah, we're going to hell. Does anybody have anything they need to plug?
Plug.
The plug.
Your mom?
That's yeah, she's gonna be here tomorrow. I'll let her know.
Well,
There's an evil atheist down the road that needs to plug you for some reason. I don't get it.
really shouldn't make dead baby jokes with one on the way, but
Well,
fuck it.
Well, congrats though, man. Seriously, that's
Something.
fucking awesome. Bringing another life into the world during this crazy fucking time.
One more atheist.
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Fucking like rabbits, apparently.
Oh, man, you gotta-
not
That's
not
obvious.
using protection, not doing the Christian thing and holding out till we're married and all that good shit.
Look at that.
That's what happens.
Look at this guy didn't get sex ed over here.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps it up for the show. Thanks everybody for listening. This has been an hour and a half almost long of an episode on religion. Naturally, you can always find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at A Topic a Month. You can email us some hate at atopicamonth@gmail.com. We still do have a Patreon, and we should still have some stickers unless they're all gone. And I'm going to end up getting some more, so hey, keep on throwing them.
And be sure to use the hashtag Lucifer's Paraphernalia.
Oh, is that a good hashtag? I'm
don't
going
know,
to start
maybe.
using that.
I see it on this What's Wrong with
I have
Halloween.
so many dead baby jokes
tag.
stuck in my head now.
You're going to have to write them down. We'll do like 20 minutes of dead baby jokes. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
And God bless.
God bless indeed.
Sending thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, that'll work.